Welcome aboard the Tech Genius XY Express. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell for your passport to programming in English and Hausa. Thank you for joining us in this presentation. So, we are going to start by introducing what we are going to do today. Today is simple Python control statement task or project. So the project description or task description in this project we are going to we are going to help you to understand and practice Python control statement, including if else, loops, and more. So you will be presented with questions and code challenges to solve these control statements. So as we can see, we have these tasks. We are going to read the question, and as well we are going to solve the problem. So I'll walk you step by step. So the first question is, write a program that takes an integer as an input, and if it is an odd or even number, uh, checks if it is an odd or even number. Use an if else statement to determine and print the result. Okay, so don't forget, uh, if you have a programming problem, the first thing you need to do, you have to develop your algorithm and data structure for that if that is needed. So but in this presentation, we are dealing with basic tasks, like very cheap tasks. So they are easy to implement, so we don't need data structure at this moment. We will come to that when we have reached there. Okay, so we are to develop the algorithm from the question. The algorithm of this question is we have to take input from user number one, and we have to use if else to check if the number is divisible by 2. That means is an even number if the remainder is equals to 0 and the number is divisible by 2. That means it's an even. Otherwise, is an odd number. So if the number is divisible by 2 and it has some remainder, is an odd number. That's just a simple algorithm. So with that, we have implemented our code here. We are accepting the input from the user. We call this, we've explained in the previous video. You can go back to reference. Okay, so this variable that we are collecting user inputs, we stated our condition from the if statement. This is the if. We pass the condition, check if it is the remainder. If you divide the number by 2, this modulo, the percent operator will call it modulo, that is returning the remainder. So if the division is done, it will return the remainder of the division, and we are checking here if it is equals to 0, then is an even number. Otherwise, is an odd number. So let's test run this without wasting time. Let's just see what is going to happen. So in this case, I'm going to pass 5 in this place. So I'm passing 5. We know 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. So we have remainder. This is an odd number. So I'm going to test run this with even number. So I'm going to pass 50 in this case. So 50 divided by 2 is 25. So that means this is an even number. So you get the whole picture. So I'm going to comment this back so that we can test run the rest. So the second task, which is write a Python program to generate multiplication table of a given number up to 10. Use for loop to print the table. Okay, like I said, if you have programming problem, you have to develop your algorithm before jumping to coding it. So the algorithm for this, we need to accept user inputs, number one. Then we have to call our range function, which is going to start from 1 to 10, but we want 10 should be included. That means 1 to 11. And we are to basically loop through the iteration and multiply with the user input. That is the algorithm, very easy and self-explanatory. So I'm going to comment this code out. So we are accepting the user input in this norm. Then we call the for loop, like we've explained all this in details. We call the range, which is sequentially printing the number from the range we want. That means we want 1 up to 10. Then during the iteration, we pass the print function where the multiplication will be carried out. So we are printing what the user entered, that is norm, and we use this symbol as a multiplication. with the iteration. So the norm is constant, the iteration is what is changing from 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we are multiplying it here norm times whatever iteration we are. So this is basically, and this second printing, we are just using the f string method. So I'm going to comment that out so that we are not going to run into it's not going to run into any multiple error, but I don't want things to be overwhelmed. So that is basically, I'm running the second program right now. So I want to enter the number for multiplication. I'm going to uh, pass 2. Let's say the multiplication table of 2, like I explained, the 2 will be constant while the iteration is changing. So we are going to pass 2. So multiplication of 2, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 10 is 20. You get the whole picture. So I'm going to comment this out so that we are going to task 3. So in this task, we are to create a Python program that check if a user entered password is strong. A strong password should be at least 8 character long and contain at least one uppercase and one lowercase letter and one digit. Okay, like I said, before you start solving this, you need to think of your algorithm. How does your algorithm going to work? So we are accepting the user inputs. Number one, we store it in password, then we state the if statement and we listen to the condition from the question. The password length should be 8 or more, so we call this length function. We pass the password 8. We are checking if it is greater than or equals to 8. Condition 1 satisfied. And since all these condition must be true, that means we have to use the AND operator here, and we call this Python function any. So this any takes loop, and is going to we call the any, and we are looping comprehension looping inside. We look for any letter or digit in the C. We are converting it to lowercase in this place, and we are also checking the and. We call the any function again. We are doing the looping inside the any function, make ensuring that we are checking for the uppercase in this place. And as well as this, we also call the and any. We are also checking for digit if it is digit. So you get the whole idea how this is going to work. So unless these conditions returns true before we enter this block of code and print is a strong password. Else, if any one of these condition returns false, then we are printing the else. So without wasting time, let's test run this ourselves and check what will be the result. So I'm going to pass password uh, which is very random, or this lowercase. Then I'm going to put plus. Yeah, this one is not strong because I refuse to add the uppercase. So I'm going to test run it with the uppercase involved in any of the letters. So I'm going to I'm giving some random number. So plus the uppercase is included here, so you can see the strong password. So you get the whole picture. We are going to comment this out so that we are not going to run into error. So the fourth task, which is write a Python program to find the sum of all numbers from 1 to a user entered integer. Use a while loop to calculate the sum. So we have two solutions here, A and B, but the B one is they are doing the same function, they are solving the same problem, but the B is well explained. It has a variable description, which is very convenient, so I prefer that. So we are accepting the user input. We store it here. We declare variable here sum. We set it to 0 and we declare our iteration because the question said from 1. So our iteration is starting from 1. We pass while this condition, if this condition is satisfiable, then we add the sum with iteration 1. So whatever iteration we have to keep incrementing the sum. That's how we count the number from 1 to that number that the user entered. So we are going to run this ourselves, and I'm going to pass 2 here. We know 2, if you iterate 1 plus 2 is going to be 3. You are going to have an output of 3. So okay, instead of me to put enter, I'm still rerunning this program. Okay, so I'm going to pass 2, like I said, press enter, that is 3. I'm going to test run it again with 5. If you add 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 5, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 is going to give you 15. You get the picture? So with that is all what this loop is doing. So I'm going to uh, comment it out. And yeah, the last task, which is write a Python program that prints the number from 1 to 100. For multiples of 3, we print fizz instead of the number. And for multiple of 5, we print bars. For that multiple of both 3 and 5, we print fizz bars. So this is a very, very simple and straightforward. So like I said, you have to develop your algorithm. Your algorithm uh, should start from 1 to 100. That means we are looping from 1 to 100. We call the range function. We want 100 should be included. That we have to increment by 101. And we stated our condition if so the first one we said, okay, check the modulo if the iteration is divisible by 3 and the remainder is equals to 0. Also, if that one is true, and we are also calling and everything must be true before we execute this. We are checking if the iteration is divisible by 5 and the remainder is 0. That is, if these two conditions satisfy, we are going to enter and execute this. L if that one is not true, then go to the next. If at any point of iteration the divisible is divisible by 3 and the remainder is 0, print this. In any iteration, if it is divisible by 5 and the remainder is 0, print boss. So you get the picture. So if we test run this, we are going to have this the output that we're expecting, so which is very convenient. So we are going to start from the top. This is 1 2 3. 3 is divisible by 3, so that is the remainder will be 0 here. So that is why we are printing fees here. So and if you check 5, after 4 we have 5. 5 divided by 5, the remainder is 0. Yeah, we have balls. And if you check 15, so 15 is divisible by 3 and is also divisible by 5. That's why we have fizz balls. So you get the whole picture. This is we have come to the end of our session here. So I hope to see you guys next time. Thank you.